Steam have had a long history. They used to make games, then they moved into the largest PC game store there is, and then they started making hardware. They've had some successes and failures. They made VR, then they made the Steam controller, and then they started trying to build computers, and they came out with things like this. This was the Steam machine. It was basically just a pre-built portable PC, and everyone universally said, what is the point of that? Now, if most people that want an ultralight thing like a PC like this would just build it on their own, and so they died incredibly quickly, and now there's nothing to be seen. But Valve hasn't stopped there, because today they have announced that they are making what is essentially sort of a Switch device. It's a PC and a Switch sort of form factor, and it looks really quite cool. The power of it, I haven't actually been able to nail down. I know consoles and everything like to limit exactly the power of what they've done, but this isn't the case with this. We should be able to find out what the chip is, and I'm sure we'll be able to find out in time. This is just initial reactions on the whole thing. Overall, I think it looks awesome. But some people have really been confused about what this is. Like, they're treating it as if it's another console. Like, they're going to act like Nintendo are and lock it all down, and it's never been the case. And what I'm going to show you in a bit really summarizes that. The journalists just can't wrap their head around it, that someone could possibly want to make a platform and then not lock it down just so they can charge you money for nothing. Yeah, it's not a Switch, but in terms of hardware, it's got a 7-inch screen. It's 1280 by 800, basically 720. It's just slightly wider aspect ratio with a 60Hz screen, and it's a Zen 2 APU, 4-core, 8 threads, 8 RDNA 2 compute units, which means nothing to me. That's well above my pay grade, and 16 gig of RAM. Now, it does say that this is more substantial than the Switch, but really, I've never looked into this APU before. AMD APU is not my strong point. If it was CPUs, at least I'd know something about it. One issue I do have is the name, the Steam Deck. Like, literally, we have Stream Decks, right? We already have Elgato Steam Decks. Talking about a Steam Deck and a Stream Deck to somebody is going to cause a hell of a lot of trouble. And you'll be like, yeah, well, it's a different name, you should know, because everyone knows about Steam. Yes, but seriously, the names are so similar, people are probably going to think you're talking about a different device half of the time. It's really going to be annoying. 4 buttons. You have a D-pad on the left, you've got a thumbstick on each side. On the right side, you have the 4 normal buttons, bumpers on the top, and my favorite feature is a trackpad on either side of the device. Also, when you flip it over to the back, you have 2 buttons on either side, like, they're not paddles, but little buttons for your fingers on the back, which is also pretty cool. Love the touchpad. Love it. Overall, pretty standard controller buttons, so it should be able to work with any controller games, but with just the extra additions like the touchpads, which honestly are amazing. You can also do things like install Windows on this device, because it is, after all, just a computer in a handheld device. This is not locked down, and that is one of its key benefits. The base version will cost $399, and it'll be 64 gig internal storage with SD card expansion. SD cards in games, I'm not sure how well they'll work, because as far as I know, SD cards are much slower than even hard drives. And considering everyone's been moving over to SSDs, dubious, but you can get the expanded version, the more expensive version, of 256 gig and 512 gig, and these will have NVMe drives inside, which will be much better for playing games. I really don't think you want to be playing games off an SD card, and I think at a 64 gig internal storage, you would very, very quickly be forced onto an SD card. But one thing I also want to cover is this IGN interview, because this was hilarious. These people can't grasp the fact that this is a PC in a handheld form factor. That's all it is. It's pre-built, it's a PC, it's unlocked, it's everything. Anything you can do on a PC, you can do on this. It's not hard to grasp. It is for them. They go through some basic questions that we've already been through. Then they say, is Flash versus Nvme Storage? It's like, yes, obviously Nvme is faster, and also when you get down to the SD card, it's going to be significantly slower. I wouldn't be a fan of that. It's a 720p. I think that's fine for a 7-inch screen. People are still using 1080p on 24-inch monitors, so a 7-inch screen is definitely fine. Battery life really does concern me, though. It says it's 2 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing. I imagine 8 is just on the desktop. Portal 2, you can get 4 hours from it. Portal 2 is not a graphically intensive game. That is a really old game. So if you only get 4 hours for Portal 2, if you're playing something like Doom, you're probably going to be looking at 2. And it says, although if you limit yourself to 30 FPS, you can get about 50% more performance. That's still 3 hours on Doom for a device which is literally meant to be carried around, used on trains and journeys and out and about. I'm not sure 3 hours is good. I really would have preferred a bigger battery. Now, I know there's legal limits you can have, especially when it comes to taking things on an airplane, so maybe that was a factor. But that's something I definitely would have wanted increased. The dock is going to come afterwards. It obviously has a microphone and Wi-Fi. Now, this uses SteamOS, which is basically Linux, which is why, because it's Linux, you can do anything a PC can. And that is what these game journalists can't understand. They're so used to just lockdown consoles that a computer being unlocked that you could do anything just blows their mind. It says, is it for gaming or is it for other PC applications? It's like, it's just a PC, mate. You can do anything. So we can go to IGN on it? Yes, it's a PC. You can do anything. He goes, what about peripherals? He goes, it's a PC. It's like, can we use peripherals? Mice? Headsets? He's like, yes, it's a PC. You can do anything. Will my AirPods work in it? Yes, it's a PC. You can do anything. Can I play VR on it? Yes, it's a PC. You can do anything, although the power is going to be awful, so you probably don't want to play VR off it. Can I adjust my graphics settings? Yes, it's a PC. You can do anything you want. Can I change my hardware in it? And he's like, well, it's a PC, so technically you probably could, but it's a small form factor, so it won't fit. The problem here isn't that they won't let you, it's that it's tightly packed. So that's the limiting factor there. Can I log into my Epic Games Store account? Yes, it's a Linux-based PC. You can do anything. Can I have mod support? If it's in the game, you can have mod support because it's a PC, you can do anything. Can I play multiplayer? Yes, you can play multiplayer. It's a PC. You can do anything. Oh my God, I swear, journalists, there is nothing on this earth which is slower on the uptake than journalists. I have never met a class of people who cannot grasp something so simple for so long. Like, seriously, this is your interview. This is your interview with Valve, and these are the questions you chose. Is it really? Really? I don't think anyone was at any point unsure about any of those things after the first answer, but they were. It says, is there there will be a dock that comes out with it, and obviously any third-party dock will do. These aren't like Nintendo. They're not going to lock it down and make you buy a proprietary dock, which is far too expensive. No. All of this, you get USB, Ethernet, HDMI, all over the USB-C port, as you should do, because it takes deliberate effort on the point of a manufacturer to actually lock that down. And I'm hoping that this will change the minds of some console players. I'm hoping that they will look at this and go, actually, there's no reason why my PlayStation can't do this. There's no reason why my Xbox can't do this. They're just PCs in boxes. Sony and Microsoft have literally gone to effort to prevent you having features. It takes them work not to allow you to do this. And so to actually see good guy Steam doing good guy Steam stuff, I really like it. The biggest issue for me is the battery life. It seems to be the only thing. What I am a big fan of is the touchpads on either side. I really like the idea of the Steam controller. It disappointed me that the Steam controller is now no longer for sale. So to see that coming back and re-entering in a new form, and that they're still really high up on touchpads, I think is awesome. Touchpads for PCs are amazing. They are far, far better control systems than the thumbsticks for virtually everything, especially in games. You can be so much more accurate with them. You can be so much quicker. It really is a much, much better experience. And it's honestly why I don't use controllers. I just think thumbsticks, especially for FPS games, which are my jam, just are horrible. Touchpads just work so much better, and so I'm really glad that they have included those on this device. Overall, really like it. Really like that it's all unlocked, free to do anything, just a PC in a small form factor. Hopefully in future generations they can get that battery life where it needs to be. And yes, if I actually needed a handheld PC to carry around with me, I'd definitely be interested in this. As it is, when I'm gaming, I'm normally here, but if I wanted a mobile device, then I would definitely choose something like this over a Switch any day of the week. Well, that's it from me. If you like the video, press like and subscribe for more videos in the future. Let me know what you think of the Steam Deck down below. Do you think it's powerful enough? What do you think of that battery life? Let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.